Hi, I'm Tiffany Woolley.
And I'm Carly Pinder.
We are interior designers
And style enthusiasts.
Now we're doing the ultimate interior design podcast just for you.
Each week, we're going to explore the rich and vibrant world of interior design and its constant evolution in style here on the iDesign Lab podcast.
Welcome. You're listening to the iDesign Lab podcast. I'm Tiffany Woolley.
Hey, I'm Carly Pinder.
And our producer, my husband, Scott Woolley.
So let's jump right into it. Let's start with the two of you talking about your backgrounds in interior design, because this is what this podcast is all about.
Well, my love of design began very early on, but it became a career right out of college, right after leaving Boston University. I came back to South Florida. I got into yacht design, and I really wanted to jump into residential design. So I felt like the best education was going to be working for a firm that was busy and had a lot going on. So I went and worked for a really large, fabulous company. I learned so much so fast, learning different vendors, all the tricks of the trade, really. So after that, I started my own business, and I have been designing ever since. High-end residential was my focus. I have since, I've since gone into...
You've probably done upwards of over 400 homes.
Yeah.
All really on the high-end side of things.
Put my stamp.
You've done a few, I'd say, mega yachts, or pretty big yachts, 150, 140 feet.
Right.
Done a few private planes for your clients. You've done, I think, 6 different television shows, designing the sets for them. CNBC,
He's better
Lifetime.
at bragging about me than I am about you.
Well, you're the one person I do want to brag about all the time. But you've been in the design and interior decorating business for quite a long time. And I know that a lot of your clients also come to you for not just the design of their house, but also, I see it when they come to the house and they're with their clothing going, should I wear this to this wedding, or should I wear this to this party?
It's a friendship, a partnership, it's a collaboration.
Styling their lives.
Styling their lives. I like that.
On a Friday night, I'm waiting for her to come home with the kids, and she's at some person's house helping them select their clothing that they're going to be wearing to some party.
Oh, I've even had clients where like, I've got a play date tomorrow. Can you come make my house look a little more presentable?
But let's talk about Carly, because she's got a very interesting background.
She does.
Carly, tell us a little about yourself so people understand.
I'm a bit newer into the interior design by way of the fashion industry. So I went to Florida State University and with a fashion major, and went right into running luxury boutiques in Palm Beach, on Worth Avenue, in Aspen,
Some of the
and have done styling,
best resort towns.
fashion design. I started a line of leather goods, accessories, sandals, belts, bags, all
So cute.
while I was traveling abroad in Bali.
Yeah, but tell them about like some of the places you've worked and lived, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, I was just saying about Bali. I loved it so much there, I didn't want to leave, so I was willing to do anything. I started working with a designer there and had always wanted to start a line of sandals. Like I said, I always loved design, and I started working on that while I was there for a few years. But prior to that, I had worked with home furnishing stuff with a company called Calypso. So I
think everybody probably has a little Calypso in their closet.
And I had a home department, and then I worked with some really great lines, and along with working with the clothing, I got really into...
Well, and just that atmosphere where all those stores were located, we're all really fabulous towns where there's a lot of design input.
Resort. I've always worked in the more resort.
So I know that one of the things that when the two of you started sort of collaborating and working together, I know that I think it was Connecticut you were working in? You were doing a home? Was it Connecticut?
No,
or?
Boston.
I was in just outside of Boston.
Right, because I remember
Yes.
that the two of you Skyped
Yes.
going through
Where's
sort
my
of
first guy?
going through the hiring process, and you were working on a nice place up in
Beautiful 6,000 plus square foot home, new construction, but they were definitely trying to put their stamp on it.
I know they have like the little, what's the little bar room? The banquet, the parlor.
The parlor room.
I'm
The
all
parlor
about
room?
these
Little-
glamorous
we
bar
named,
area.
We named every room. Just gives a little.
So,
little je ne
so the
sais
two
quoi.
of you have been working together for quite a while. You've come up with this idea that
Because
the
we
the
actually are
need-
really funny.
Right. Well, I think part of it is
Coming
this
through.
is your first podcast, so it's a little bit getting used to doing a podcast, listening to yourself, being on a microphone.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the two of you have an enormous amount of information and talent to really talk about and impart to.
Passion and excitement. I mean,
Both are
it
passionate.
is a labor of love for sure.
And every time, literally every day that mail comes and when every vendor comes and does a presentation, it's always like, there's not enough projects to use all this fabulousness.
It's true.
So that's part of the reason why you guys have decided to do this podcast is because of the amount of information and the amount of choices that there are for people who are decorating, is to help impart and let people know and
You
explain.
don't need to settle.
Right, and part of it I think also is what you guys talked to me about when you asked me to help you kind of produce it and put it together and get it out there, was the fact that the average person, and I've seen this for years with you, Tiffany, that so many people come into the office and really are very, to a large degree, I guess you could say scared or concerned or worried that can they afford it?
yeah.
Is it going to be too expensive?
Well, they immediately think that if, a designer's going to put a markup on something, then it's going to make it more expensive, and I could have bought a chair myself. But what they're not understanding is the overall investment of the process, which when it's curated, everything has a place.
and the need for instant gratification, and instead of doing it right from the start. And that it takes longer
Time,
to achieve
and it's worth it.
the perfect.
Well, I was one of those people, and I learned it a long time ago when Tiffany and I got set up on our first date. And
know
the
who's
next
gonna
thing I
tell
know,
his story.
we started dating.
Wait, I haven't heard this story.
The next thing we started dating, and the next thing I knew, I had just bought and built. I just actually had
How
just
ironic.
finished.
She had you signing a contract
Pretty
to
much.
do the whole house.
I had just finished building a house and was needing to update and get furniture because it was a much larger house than what I was living in. And we were dating, and everyone, friends, family, were like, "Well, you're going to use Tiffany." And well, we started talking about it decorating, and next thing I know, she gave me a contract. And I was like, I don't want to spend the money with a decorator. But then when I realized that
The value.
the value of what she puts together or an interior designer puts together, and the fact that they're buying it at such an exorbitantly lower cost than what retail is, that at the end of the day, you're getting that whole decorated experience for probably a little bit less than if you went out and tried to do it yourself.
And you're
And I-
talking about long-term commitment. I mean, you're home. It's not like your
Most-
clothes. You're changing from
Right.
season to season. A lot of these pieces you'll have for years and years.
And you were going to entertain here. This is where you're going to raise your family, or you're going to have holidays. You really want this place to be a reflection of you, whether it's your main home, your second home, your ski home, summer beach house. They all can have a personality that still can be very different, but represent.
So what the iDesign Lab podcast has been created, what you two have created it to be and for, will be helping provide this kind of information for people who are listening, people who are interested in possibly decorating or getting involved, starting to decorate, or even people who are in the process and looking for assistance or more advice and so forth. I know we're lining up a lot of different people, from manufacturers to vendors to fabricators to
Real estate
other interior
developers
designers.
and
Yeah,
builders,
Influencers.
and even from our clients, and you can hear
Some of their
stories from
learn from them.
Right, learn from their
So
mistakes.
you're gonna have the great stories and some of the horrible stories that people have gone through to help break down,
And we
so it
still
doesn't
talk
happen.
after the
So
horrible
it doesn't
story.
happen to other people.
Right. Learn from their.
Right. Like where people, sometimes don't listen to their designer originally or initially. But I feel like we really want to also in this podcast get across the correlation of design and I hate to use the word glamour, but the fashion world, the travel world, the influencer world, where it all, everybody's styling everything nowadays. You're styling every post on Instagram. So we really want this to represent all of that, but through a interior design philosophy. We hope you found this podcast interesting today and enjoyed what you heard. We look forward to continuing to bring you new information every week with some fun and exciting guests. And I know we're new at this, but we're super excited. We're just ready to go. So please stay tuned, subscribe, and like us wherever you listen to podcasts to the iDesign Lab.